I've had the privilege of operating and running some of the biggest marketing teams in the world. Um, but there's a fundamental need to understand what the purpose of marketing is. And a lot of organizations have lost sight of that. And therefore, you tend to find that marketers will, because of their nature, because they're inquisitive and curious and interested in the way things work, they will tend to concentrate and look towards new shiny tools, new technologies, new innovations, different ways of doing things. Because marketers should have an endless desire to find different ways of doing things, because the world keeps moving, it keeps changing, and the landscape keeps changing, and markets keep changing. So there is a need to constantly change and think that through. But if you're not careful, that becomes an end in itself. And the purpose of marketing is very clearly, it is an investment. And like any investment, a business should require it to deliver a return. So number one, it's the lack of connection between the business goals and the marketing activity. The lack of a clarity that this marketing investment should produce an impact that aligns to the business goals. And that impact should be a combination of short, medium, and long term. It isn't just about driving short-term sales. It should be on a much wider basis of that. So I guess the question is why does that happen? Or what's the gap that allows that to happen? And the gap is actually really simple. It's that most organizations have never written down what they want their marketing to do. So there is no plan. There is no written plan. Or there might be a whole bunch of tactical activities of people being very busy doing stuff. But there's no actual overall plan that connects that activity to the business. So number one, the creation of a clearly written, documented marketing plan that defines what it is the organization wants to achieve and the strategies that sit in the middle between the organizational objectives and the tactics. So that the marketing activity actually lines up with what the business wants to achieve. So once marketing is refocused so that it creates an impact with a clear plan, then there's a vastly greater chance of that marketing investment returning. By the same token, most organizations will use some kind of external support, external agencies in specialist areas to enable them to deliver what they want. And yet again, if you talk to marketing agency owners, they very rarely are working with any kind of brief. They very rarely have a document that specifies what it is they want to, what they're required to achieve. And therefore they're working in the dark. And therefore they're guessing and coming up with what they think is the right approach and the right idea, rather than being truly aligned. So the second thing is clearly there needs to be a fully documented marketing brief for any external party that you work with. And alongside that, there is a tendency for organizations to use their agencies as suppliers. And it should be on a partnership basis. So people who work in your external agencies are as much part of your marketing team as your employees. They're just paid differently. And therefore they should have, to work effectively, no barriers to information, no barriers to knowledge, no mind games, nothing. They should be absolutely part of your team and embedded and treated in the same way that any employee would. And of course, if you're outsourcing something to somebody, it's still your job to motivate them.